May 10th, 2023. Special spring turkey tag, second tag, whatever you want to call it, Pennsylvania. Got it done today. I didn't get out until about 7:45 this morning. Had to drop the kids off at school, and didn't hear any birds. Didn't see any birds till about 11:20, 11:15. I was on one top. There was a draw below me, and I got to the point and I made a call and heard a nice sounding gobbler just off the point, but he was moving down towards the bottom. There's a little creek down there, another internal field, and he wasn't coming my way. It seemed like he wanted to work to the other top, the other ridge top there, and I went down to the creek bottom, made one last call, and when I made the last call to see where he was, I was flanking him to the left, trying to get up to the top before he got to the top and maybe call him across the top. And I heard birds over the top where he was headed, and there were several of them. And I luckily the fence row there, and I was able to get through there. It was kind of grassy without making noise. And I got to the top, made a call, and the birds weren't very far. They were down just over the other side, maybe 50 yards. And there was a bunch of brush in front of me, and I froze. I had an opening to my left, and I saw 3 hens pass by, 2 jigs came by, all within 15 yards. I'm standing like inside of a bush. I didn't even have time to sit down, and I let them pass. And about 10 yards away, I didn't see him, maybe 15 yards away, but I heard him spitting. Turkeys, the gobblers often, rather than gobble, they make the spit and drum call, and that's how, when hens are close, you can probably hear that. The human ear can probably hear it 40, 50 yards away on a real calm day. I heard that, and it was right in front of me, and I had brush in front of me. It was a wall, brush, blocking me from the gobbler. And I just heard, it sounds like when you spit, like psst, or psst. And then I saw him through a couple small openings, and he was going from my right to left, and he just kept moving slow. He gobbled one last time when he was behind that brush, and then he started walking out, and the jakes were down below me, and at the time I didn't know it, but there were other longbeards down there. They had passed by. I didn't see them, probably just down over the little hill there, and he popped his head up. He broke strut, stood straight up, and I drilled him probably at 25 yards. I hit him pretty hard. It was a mess. His head got lit up pretty good, but he started rolling down over the hill, bouncing like a basketball, and I went down there and finally got him. But when I popped out and I looked, there were several more gobblers. Altogether, probably 8 to 10. I know there were 3 hens, 2 jakes. This one, that's 6, and then several more, probably between 8 and 9, or 8 and 10 altogether. But the story behind this one is, these turkeys were with hens, and they weren't gobbling a lot. And you've got to be patient. You've got to know where they strut. I knew their strut zones. We've been hunting this area for a long time, and they were in that area strutting. And the key was to get to the strut zone undetected and try to make some calls. And these turkeys they heard me just as I was just off the top, and then they came running in, because when I called, they gobbled, the whole band of them gobbled, and they just were working their way up. That was their natural movement. It's not so much about the calling. This is a great tip to think about. It's not so much about the calling, versus the knowing the terrain and knowing what turkeys do. And that's why scouting is so important, whether you're hunting turkeys or whether you're hunting deer. Know the terrain, know what they do, learn their house. That's their home. Just like people, we have habits. We can walk through a house in pitch black, our house that we've lived in. We can flip lights on and we won't run into anything. The turkeys are the same way. They know every little nook and cranny. They know where they've been disturbed. They know where they're safe. They know where they're not safe, and it all revolves around food and water. And if there's anything to take away from this hunt was, don't give up, because I heard nothing all morning from the time I got in the woods about 7:45 until a little after 11. And today, you had to quit at 12. End up shooting this turkey at 11:45. And then I had to hightail out of the woods because I had to get out of there before too long. And but I hunted to the end, and right before I heard the last gobble, well, actually before I made the last call, I looked at my watch, and it was 11:30. So it took about 15 minutes for this all to go down and get a clear shot. But I'm excited. This is gobbler number 2. It's, what's today, May 10th. Wow, what a season! What a last several seasons. It's been great hunting gobblers, and I know there's some people who still probably will hunt if I get time. We'll get out and do a little more hunting with some other people. I know my dad hasn't got one yet. He spent the last 2 mornings working some birds. He saw yesterday in a field across from the property he had permission on the neighboring property. As he was leaving, it was before 12 o'clock, and he left early for some reason, but he said there were like 8 gobblers all stretched out across the top of the field strutting. He calls me, goes, "This is an amazing sight, and I can't do anything about it. They're on the other property, and they won't come in." Because I just drove down the road and watched them. As he left, he had to go, I forget, he had to go home for something. But hey, good luck to everyone. The season, there's a lot left in the season. I believe after this Saturday, the quitting time is 1/2 hour after sunset. Today, obviously, it's still 12 o'clock, but the season goes till sun up to sunset, or just after sunset. I think starting Saturday's the 13th, 14th, 15th, I believe. Double check your books, your digest. But get out and turkey hunting. And we've got one of the best turkey hunting states in the nation. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but we've got some of the biggest gobblers. This guy's at least 20 pounds. He's got some of the biggest gobblers. He's got about a 10-inch beard. His spurs are just slightly over an inch. I'd say he's just a 2-year-old, but you never know. The winter was really mild, and even higher elevations it was mild. So down here in the farm country where I grew up, we're below 1,300 feet. It's like 1,200 feet here. It's not real high, and didn't have really a winter at all. And these birds, they fed. They had a lot to eat. Didn't have to worry about the cold, and they got real big. Plus, we had I think at least 2 seasons, according to the biologists in the state. The last 2 seasons we've had great nesting, and that would explain why we have a lot of 2-year-old birds. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we had pretty good nesting. So a lot of 2-year-old birds, even a lot of 3-year-old birds, which might explain why there's not a whole lot of gobbling sometimes, because you have a lot of 3-year-olds out there. But I think there are a lot of 2-year-olds too. So good luck for the rest of the season. I hope you learned something on these videos. I try to apply the hunt to a little lesson so everyone can get better. I mean, I've been hunting since I've been 12, and I've learned something every year, and I'm 42 now. So 30 years of this, and I'm learning still. You can always learn something, and that's why I put these videos out there, so we can learn, you can learn, and I teach what I learn as I go. Good luck on the rest of the season. Take care.